What's up guys, my name is Dychronic here on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be talking about how to get the new exotic hand cannon known as the Last Word. The Last Word being a Destiny 1 favorite returning to Destiny 2, only released yesterday on January 29, 2019, as you go through a series of different PvE and PvP related steps. And in this video I'm going to be talking about all the different steps, in what order they are, the easiest way to do each one of the steps, and as well as a little bit of an overview and review that I'll have at the very end, talking about the weapon and how it works. And I gotta say, this weapon definitely has the opportunity to kind of disrupt the meta as far as PvE goes. This weapon is definitely very powerful, considering that it has about the amount of impact as a 180 hand cannon with a 225 fire rate. This weapon can definitely mow down enemies pretty quickly. On screen now is a timestamp to the start of my review slash overview of the weapon. It's not a very long or in-depth overview or review, just wanted to talk very briefly about how I would use it in PvE and PvP and just seeing how good it is. If you want to just see how the weapon is and how it functions and whether it's worth it or not, go check that out first and then come back here to the tutorial. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing you have to do is go to the Drifter and start the quest line. Now, if you don't see a blue crown item on the map on the Drifter, most likely you have to finish some generic basic thing like the Black Armory campaign. I don't know what the requirement is, since I have pretty much done everything. I can't speak to the minimum requirement. Once you go to the Drifter, he'll give you an artifact that requires you to do 3 separate things. Firstly, you're gonna have to get items dropped from the Hive, solar kills against Hive, and kill 3 Hive bosses. In my opinion, the easiest way to do this is going to be the Lost Sector in the north section of Mars. The guy with the big Hive boss at the end, just go into that Lost Sector, kill those Hives with some solar weapons and solar classes, and then murder that Lost Sector boss. We have tried in different locations. Like for example, the Hive boss on Titan did not seem to work at all. Other bosses in strikes also seem to be a bit finicky, as well as the fact you have to go through an entire strike. In general, just go to the Mars Lost Sector. You can go through that pretty quickly, especially if you have a team of 3. You can murder him very quickly. Outside of that, once you get your 3 boss kills and you only need Hive kills or solar kills, just start up Escalation Protocol to finish it off, and you should be able to get that very quickly. After that, then you're going to need to head back over to the Drifter and get the next part of the quest. The Drifter will then give you the Temptation, which has you go into the Crucible and get kills against enemy guardians. Now, the way it works is you get 1% for every kill or assist, and you lose 1% for every death, and there's also some bonuses for going on streak. So if you're going for more than 1 kill, you're going to be getting bonus percentages on each one of those kills beyond 1. So there may be games where you literally lose percentages or stay at the exact percentage, and there may be games that you get 93% in one single game, which is what one of our teammates did on the first game that we played. Me personally, I was more around the 30 to 40% depending on how well I did. If I had a good game, it was around 30%, and in like 3 or 4 games, you should be able to complete it if you play a decent amount. Something to note is that Mayhem is going on right now as of the week of the release of The Last Word, and if you are a Blade Barrage hunter, you might find better luck going on streaks and getting lots of kills in that particular game mode. However, it also will be a little bit difficult considering your streaks will be ended very quickly pretty much all the time. After that, you're going to be heading over to Titan and completing the mission called The Damnation. This has you go through the Cargo Bay 3 Lost Sector and going through a couple of enemies with some interesting mechanics. Basically, there's a guy in there you have to kill, and you have to kill some of the guys near him to make it so his shield goes away, and you just do a couple phases of that to kill him off. It's really pretty straightforward. If you have a couple teammates, it should be pretty standard. After that, head back to the Drifter and he'll give you the next part of the quest. He will then send you on probably the most annoying and monotonous part of this entire quest line, especially the PvP part. We have to complete 4 different steps. Firstly, you have to collect 15 etched crystals from Lost Sector wanted escapees. Pretty much you have to kill 15 Lost Sector bosses. You also have to earn 25 Best Served Cold or Blood for Blood medals in the Crucible, which is basically Avenger and Revenger medals. So you have to avenge a teammate's death or revenge your own death. Then you also have to defeat Hive with precision damage to collect larvae. You have to get 50 larvae, and it seems to happen 1 out of every 3 headshots on Hive that you complete. And then lastly, you have to sacrifice Hive bosses summoned by the Witch's Rituals. Pretty much complete 3 Witch's Rituals, which can either be on Mars in the southern section, or you can be on Titan in the southern section of the Rift. So let's go ahead and talk strategy. The etched crystals from the Lost Sector bosses, as well as the larvae from the Precision Hive kills, can both be completed at the same time with the Cargo Bay 3 Lost Sector on Titan. So go over to this Lost Sector, which is going to be the northern Lost Sector with the big ogre boss on the rig section of Titan, and just keep on repeating this Lost Sector over and over again until you've gotten 15 boss kills and you've also gotten your 50 larvae from precision headshot. At the same time, make sure you're also paying attention to the Witch's Ritual, which again spawns on Titan in the rig section on the lower section of rig, as well as on the upper section of the glacial drifts on Mars. Check both of these locations every other time to see if there's something coming in, and go there as soon as physically possible every time you see it. The best strategy for this Witch's Ritual is playing solo, so basically go in there Witch's Ritual, complete it as fast as possible, and then teleport back to the same area nearby, and hopefully you find a new instance that they're still fighting the enemies on. And then finally, the PvP part. To get 25 Avenger and Revenge medals, this is basically going to be the most annoying part of this entire quest line, because you will be yelling out into the night, how was that not an Avenge? How was that not fast enough? I cannot believe how many times I killed somebody right after they killed a teammate and it just was not fast enough, or on top of that, just the enemy just fucking off and not wanting to fight. It's just constantly never being able to get what you want. The first 3 games, I got 3 medals out of those 3 games. I thought I was going to be playing 25 games of this garbage, but after a while, I started to get around like 5 to 10 a game. In my opinion, Mayhem should be a fantastic game mode to get these medals on. However, we did find that it really wasn't that good. You know, you'd think since all your teammates are dying at all times, supers are flying every which way, you're killing the enemies that just killed you and all your teammates, you should be able to get Avengers and Revenges pretty much all the time, considering how fast and how quick paced it is. However, I found, and we found, that it's not very good at all. Not only for the fact that the enemies are just going every which way and your teammates are stealing your kills all the time and you're never able to get back for your revenge in time before your teammates get them, on top of the fact that the games are just so damn quick that you're literally in matchmaking looking for the next game more than you are actually playing a game. So in our opinion, quick play was definitely the way to go for this. But hey, if you're a Blade Barrage hunter, you may find better luck in Mayhem. I don't know. I personally was a Titan, so Mayhem was definitely not something very fun. And when you finally finish this step, then you're going to be heading back to the Drifter, and he'll send you down to hunt Enkar in the final quest step. This particular mission has to be done solo, so if you're with your fire team members, you have to split up and all 3 do it separately. For the most part, this mission is pretty straightforward. Just kill the enemies when they appear, get the worms and put them in the sections that they need to go in, and just progress through the mission normally. This is actually taking place in the PS4 exclusive area, so if you don't have PS4, you can finally see what this area looks like and kind of play what it feels like to play the mission. However, it's not exactly the same. And eventually you get to a point where you find a plate. Honestly, I think that you should try to avoid this section of the video if you don't want any spoilers, because this is probably the most fun thing about this entire quest step. So you can skip to this time here on screen if you want to avoid any spoilers for this section, because honestly, this is really cool. Alright, so for everybody else who wants to know what the challenge is, what the nifty thing about this mission is, it's basically a quick draw challenge. As you're going through the mission, you'll eventually arrive at these plates like I said, and once you stand on these plates, Enkar will spawn in front of you, basically hand on his gun. He's basically doing a quick draw challenge, cowboy style. After standing on the plate for enough time, a last word will spawn in front of you. You grab the last word, and then you have to shoot the gun out of his hand. So basically, he'll raise his gun up, the big glowing gun on his side, and you have to shoot that gun. You'll deal damage to him, and he'll move on to the next phase. After defeating him, defeat all the enemies in the area, move on to the second plate. It's important that you kill off all the enemies in the area, because if you don't, they're going to be shooting you at the next quick draw challenge. On this second plate, you guessed it, there's going to be 2 Enkars that spawn in, that you have to do the quick draw challenge on both of them at the same time. Basically, one of them is going to raise their gun before the other, and you basically have to shoot them back to back as they raise their weapons to shoot at you. Now, something that I didn't realize at first is you can actually tell which one is going to be raising their gun before the other one. Basically, as you're looking at them, just look and see who spawns first, because that will be the order in which they raise their guns at you. So if the left one spawns first and then the right one spawns second, the left one will be shooting at you first and then the right one after that. So basically, just memorize the order in which they spawn, shoot the guy, and basically pre-aim the guy who's going to be shooting at you first, and then aim over at the next guy after that. After you complete the second plate, again, a group of enemies will spawn. Kill off all these enemies. Very important that you kill off all of them, and you'll be reaching a third and final plate where, you guessed it, there's going to be 3 Enkars in a much longer but more exciting quick draw challenge. The same premise applies in this step as it did in the previous step. Just pay attention to the order in which they spawn. They can spawn in any order. It is random every single time, and just memorize that order, pre-aim the first and second guy, and just kill them in the order they spawn in. Should be pretty straightforward. Knowing this, I died 10 times in a row not knowing this, but it definitely is a lot easier if you're not just flicking over and hoping you're hitting the shot. Once you complete this step, the last word will drop onto your character and you'll have it. After that, just go to the drifter to get the last pieces of lore you want, talk to him, he'll give you some more information about what the weapon is and where it's from and all that stuff, and you will be done with the quest line. With the tutorial out of the way, let's go and talk about the weapon in my short little overview and review of the weapon. The first thing you need to understand about this weapon is that it's a 225 hand cannon with the impact of a 180 hand cannon. So it has the same damage as a Luna's Howl outside of the Magnificent Howl perk, but it shoots faster. So technically, it has probably the best time to kill in the entire game right now, as far as primary weapons go. Now, there's a bit of a caveat to this weapon is gonna be how you use it. Firstly, its recoil is pretty heavy. If you're not playing on PC, the recoil while aiming down sights will absolutely fly everywhere. You're not gonna be able to even hit what you can hit with a Luna's Howl, which does not have really the best range as it is. So this weapon, as far as range goes, do not use it outside of like a close range engagement. However, there is a caveat to this. If you hip fire this weapon, you're going to have significantly less recoil from each one of these shots. So you're going to have to start to get quite good at hip firing this weapon at the enemy. Now, after enough practice, you'll figure out what kind of sensitivity you need to aim at targets and whatnot, but it definitely took me quite a while because I like aiming down sights and pretty much every weapon, especially even shotguns, honestly, I aim down sights. And because of the fact you have to blind fire this weapon, it makes it a very close range weapon. You're going to want to pair it with a longer range secondary. So in my opinion, the best secondary you can have with this weapon is going to be a sniper rifle. So pretty much any sniper rifle from the energy slot is going to work wonders with this weapon. You can use Tartara Gaze with its kill clip potential. You can use Fake Cry's Foul like I was using. It's a very common weapon. You can get lots of rolls on it. You can use the Long Walk, which seems to be a very common weapon. The one Trials sniper rifle from I think 2017, I don't know why that has such a resurgence lately. However it's used, the secondary sniper rifle seems to work wonders. Alternatively, you could also use a bow, doing the old shoot a person with a bow, switch to your hand cannon and quickly shoot them combo. However, there is a weird animation with the last word. You have to actually spin it and flip it before you can actually use it, so it definitely does not pull out as fast as other hand cannon. And honestly, the best way to use this weapon is as fast as physically possible. Don't try to aim this weapon, just blind fire in the general direction of an enemy, and hopefully one of your 8 shots will get the kill shot on the enemy, and honestly, you're gonna have to reload between every single kill. Outside of that, it's just getting comfortable with the weapon. There's really not a lot of weapons like this weapon. You have to blind fire it, but it is definitely a lot of fun, and I highly recommend you try it out and get used to it, because this weapon could definitely do wonders for you. And honestly, it encourages you to use sniper rifles, and I gotta say, it really feels good to finally get those headshots with sniper rifles, because I don't use them very often because of the whole Dust Rock or the Retold Tail combos with shotguns. I'm excited that we're finally gonna see more snipers in Crucible, because hot damn, I cannot take another Chaperone Dust Rock fucking game. Anyways, that's pretty much the video. Hope you guys did enjoy. My name is Dychronic, and I'll see you guys on the next.